we looked at all the facts and all the figures here, like it came down to Montana is really exporting global warming to other states. And when you look at the tax figures too, like Montana only gets about 3% of its revenue from coal taxes, and it doesn't even come close to making up for the discrepancy on how much taxpayers are funding cleanup and remediation funds. We're already so far in debt from that.
What's the big issue here with exporting our energy?
Exporting Montana energy?
Why should citizens give a darn?
Why should they? Well, we're actually harvesting more coal than this state could ever use.
So, I mean, it just this huge discrepancy, it really came down to me thinking, you know, why would the taxpayers in Montana subsidize to export global warming to other states?
Should we keep it for ourselves? Not necessarily, but when you're taking 95% of it and shipping it away, if not more, it's unfathomable to even think why we're actually doing that. Why do we even need to be pulling it out and selling it off to other states for us to have a quick buck?
There's a lot of unanswered and troubling questions about where the gases would go, how long they would stay there, who would be responsible for them in a legal and moral sense.
When you burn coal, you still have to pump the residue into the soil, into the rock somehow. It's expensive. Even what we know already, it's extremely expensive. And so even if we somehow can learn to do that, it's going to be so costly.
Right now, technologically, yes, you could sequester carbon from the stack gases from a coal-fired plant and compress it and pipe it off and squirt it down somewhere. You would basically use most of the energy that you just produced to go do it. And so you'd have this perpetual motion machine that kept feeding coal in and getting nothing out.
Its abundance in America will help provide energy security into the next century, and the commitment by America's electricity providers to develop and use new technologies continues to make coal cleaner than ever before.
They've got to prove it, and not just talk, and they being the coal industry can't just talk about it. They've got to build a full-scale plant and do it and prove it and let independent people come in and take energy efficiency numbers, and so far that doesn't seem to be happening.
But we've allowed the hydrocarbon industry to create a situation where we're putting enough carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, even if we were to stop the increase today, that there are going to be great and catastrophic changes for this generation, the one that follows, and certainly the third generation is going to be faced with even greater.
So do you spend a lot of money to build an industry that is effectively a lateral move on climate, you know, a little bit worse? Or are we trying to build hybrid cars? Are we trying to develop new technologies? Are we trying to you know, solve our transportation problems in ways that actually move our economy?
When Jim Hansen was here in October, who is absolutely the preeminent climate scientist on Earth, that he in no uncertain terms said the first thing America needs to do is quit burning coal, period. And he didn't mince any words. He was more blunt about it than I thought he'd be.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy when, you know, half of the leadership in Montana's legislature doesn't even believe global warming exists or that it's human caused.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it's time to wake up and, like, people have to start telling their leaders that this is something we care about, and, you know, this is a really big issue.
Clean coal. It's America's power.
Solar, wind, geothermal, we have to have it all.
Paid for by Americans for Balanced Energy Choices.
Traveling down that coal town road, listen to my rubber tires whine. Goodbye to Buckeye and White Sycamore, I'm leaving you behind.